Everybody? I apologize for my tardiness. The meeting is calling to order at 5:34 on Tuesday, December 16th. Welcome, everybody. Okay.
I missed the last 2 months, so. We're gonna change to the Tlingit, Haida, and Jimshan people. We respectfully acknowledge them as the original inhabitants of Southeast Alaska. Bartlett Regional Hospital is located on the homelands of We are grateful to provide services in your ancestral homeland and to be part of this community.
Roll call, please.
Chris Lesman,
Here.
Dr. Tingey,
I'm here online.
Max Mertz.
Here.
Lisa Peterson. Amy Solomon Gross.
Here online too.
Shelley Deary.
You're
You're
muted.
muted, but I see you. Al Geiger,
Present.
Dr. Rasker,
Here.
and Greg Johnston.
Here.
And we also have another for this final.
Changes. Are there any changes to the post pages to the agenda? Seeing this. Oh, yes. I would like to make an amendment. To the agenda.
Oh, no, you don't have to. We get to that. This is your invitation.
I'm getting instruction here from. Needed instruction, apparently. I would entertain a
Road trip for the agenda.
to approve the agenda. Thank you. Okay, do we have any public participation? Please. Anyone online? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Road trip for consent agenda.
Great. Hospital capacity updates.
Madam Chair, for hospital capacity update, CCU at 73 days, med surge 229, MHU 195, OB 66, newborn nursery 47. The emergency department saw 863 patients last month. We currently have no holds waiting for transfer, and as of this afternoon, no COVID in-house for employee or patient. I'll just continue, Madam Chair. Thank you. For home health, the program had 9 admissions with 2 recertifications for the month of November. There's 6 admissions pending, with 26 currently on service. Hospice program had 4 admissions, 7 are currently receiving service with an average daily census for the month of 10. We did do, I think, she's on. I'll let Melissa give the update for the Light Up the Life. And if it's okay, I can move into the wildfire court update.
Yes, please.
So we're still working on.
Okay.
Sure.
If I could,
Yes.
Madam Chair. Kim, on the hospice and home care update, is it possible that for the census, we could get some sort of tracking chart added in? I'm thinking similar to what we have for wildfire court.
Sure.
Just going forward. Maybe look back 12 months or something like that, or 13 months. Maybe one that, admissions and
Yes.
patients are being served and so forth, I do it in one chart. Sorry to bother you, or I'm interrupting. Thanks.
So continuing with the Wildflower Court update, they're still working on quite a few performance improvement projects. They're averaging census about 54, 47 long-term care residents, 6 skilled nursing, and they're at 85, almost 86% occupancy.
You have a foundation update. Foundation update? Is it recording?
Melissa?
Honey, I can't figure this out. I'm gone. I'm not even in the screen now. Brock, shut the fuck up.
We can hear you.
I'm sorry. My phone's ringing.
Kenny is texting me and saying this sound is kind of scratchy on his end. I don't know if that's him. Shelley, how's it for you? Is it scratchy too? It is.
The same.
I'm gonna disconnect and reconnect. I'm not sure why I'm having some technical difficulties here.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you fine, Kenny.
Yeah, I'm struggling to hear too. I just kind of changed it a little bit. You guys can still hear me, right?
Yes.
I thought turning off my video would help.
Look at your input down below there, Anita, down, yeah, right there. Do you have any options in there? Or is this the one? Yeah, okay.
Right now. Can you hear?
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you, Anita. It seemed earlier that it was people in different spots that were much harder to hear.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep, we hear you. Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. My son was calling on the other line. It was a little bit of a mess. I think it's my time for report. So I was just going to go through the current Bartlett Regional Hospital Foundation report. You've probably had a moment to look at this now. I apologize for the delay here. So the jingle and bid brought in approximately $3,000 in our silent auction items this past week. I delivered the last of all of the auction items today, so I think everybody's got everything. The Foundation Hospice Light Up a Life event was moved over to the Mendenhall Mall this last, 2 weeks ago, I guess it was. They brought in approximately $3,300 in the event that last weekend. We currently have the tree up through the end of the month, and I've been going over moving it because they have markets and things happening, but they will have it through the end of the holiday season in case people would like to go and share an ornament with their loved one's name on it. We had the annual reception tree lighting with Santa this last December 11th, this past couple days ago. It was very successful. We had about 36 children come through with their parents. Had some pretty cute photos. Kenny did a great job as Santa as usual, so that was really exciting to have everyone there. Our new coffee vendor, Spearfish, seems to be doing pretty good. Busiest times seem to be early in the morning, 6:30, but they also still have that kind of slow end about 11:30. They're there until about 1:30 or 2 in the afternoon, but we're not seeing as many people coming through there. So we may have to adjust after the new year, back to that 11:30 end time. Please support them as you can if you are in the hospital and you would like to get a cup of coffee. We'd like to be able to continue offering that service. And then our total for the foundation investment to date is $76,817. We are working this week collecting the rest of the student information, all of their grade checks for the spring scholarships that'll be going out in January. And our board met a few weeks ago, and we're talking about the potential of bringing the baby boxes back. So that might be a fun new spring event that we'll be working on. You may have any questions for me?
Are we gonna cover the housing update in your report, or should we ask Melissa to bring it up now?
I have that in my report.
Okay. All right.
Madam Chair, Melissa,
Yes.
I'm really excited to hear about the possibility of bringing back the baby boxes. I think that's great.
Yes, our board is very excited to continue that. And Kenny, we will miss you on the board.
I'll miss being on that board too.
Well, the baby boxes it's been something that the entire board was very excited about bringing back to the hospital.
It's I wish it never went away, but I think that's great. I'm really glad to hear that, Melissa.
Yes, and Kim and I found we actually still have a stash of them over in storage too. So we've got about 200 of them over there. So we have a good start to re-implementing those.
Great. And I'm sure Kevin gave you the whole history of the baby boxes and why they went away.
Yes. Oh, yes. I've heard all the stories, and I'm sure I'm going to hear more. I'm going to be meeting with some people in OB and some people that have been there kind of through the duration of when we had it and when we didn't have it. So I'll hear a little bit more about that. We're meeting the very beginning week of January.
And I know that 10 years ago when I joined the hospital foundation board, that was the reason why I really was interested in it, was because of the baby boxes. So to hear it coming back, I think that's just great.
Does that mean you're coming back too?
No.
Darn. Hey, it was a good try. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, new business. We have an A3 presentation from Chad Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, as you guys know, we've been trying to come to the board each month with a different A3 to kind of show you what we're doing on the operations side to, achieve our strategic priorities. So, I oversee strategic priority 2, which is the support and development of alignment of employees, providers, and partners. So, this does align with the long-term goal of the board and long-term goal of the hospital, which is to reduce the reliance of contract employees, as well as incorporates a new component, which is the consolidation of staffing vendors. Currently, we have 7. We are about to add our 8th staffing vendor. With that comes a lot of complications, particularly on the compliance side, because every single organization has a different methodology to be able to get all their compliance documents to us. And so by consolidating to a fewer group of vendors, it will allow us to streamline those processes and make it easier for hopefully everybody. So as you can read in the scope, obviously all departments that are using contract labor are included in this. Right now, when I originally wrote it, it was between 7 and 12%. I wasn't exactly sure. We did run the baseline. You can see under KPI number 1, it is at 8.3%. So 8.3 of our total staff is contractors. So we're looking for a 30% reduction in that number. So roughly 2.5%. To get down to roughly 6.7. Again, part of the challenges are inconsistent rates, inconsistent terms. So each vendor has a different set of things that they offer and don't offer. Some we have to pay for them to be doing their education before they come. Some that's partially included. Some will allow us to transition an employee after one contract to a permanent employee. Others have to complete a full year. So again, and then again, there has been historically, there's been disparities in rates that are being offered through the different vendors. So, which creates a really interesting and kind of unlevel playing field for the contractors to try to go out. Because if they're advertising to people and they're saying company A is paying, let's say 55 and company B is paying 54 or 53, well, then everyone's going to come through the one vendor. So again, getting that all brought into one. We do have one particular vendor that we're super excited about because their platform integrates with UKG. Right now, we get paper timesheets that, to be candid, who knows who signs off on them? We end up going in HR and checking all these individual timesheets compared to what was put into UKG to ensure their accuracy. But this particular vendor has the ability to have a feed directly from us. So they can have access to those employees directly. So the process becomes automated and simple and very, very clean. And they also have a full electronic portal that allows us to see all their compliance documents at any time. So if Joint Commission was to come in, this is a vendor that we currently use. For anybody that's a traveler within that organization, we're able to go into their portal, pull all their documentation and hand it to Joint Commission. With some of the smaller vendors, we're like calling them on the East Coast saying, hey, you know, I've got everything but this. I can't find the email that you sent. Can you resend it? And so again, suboptimal to say the least. And again, hopefully the goal is, you know, you have, you know, we've seen over the course of the last 2 years, we talk about engagement, the staff burnout, and there's almost an inequity in scheduling and coverage with the travelers. So what's the cause? What's the root of all this? Well, first and foremost, I think it's a lack of proactive recruitment strategy. We haven't had that over the time that I've been here. We haven't had the people nor the time nor the focused effort to really getting people and driving internal hires. And I'm really proud to say that, you know, as we've transitioned Leah Baklemba into that role, she's been able to do some really great things in terms of, and I'll give you an example. This isn't staffing specific, contractor related, specific contractors related, but she was able to get our entire security team staffed in 3 months. And she was able to do that because she was going in, she was making sure that the folks met the minimum qualifications. So the manager were spending less time, you know, going through the different resumes, trying to figure out whether or not these people met the minimum qualifications or didn't. She was doing all of that work beforehand. So she was maximizing the time with the managers and directors. So they had a more focused ability to spend the time with the qualified candidates, making that process faster. Behind that, we have Lauren Zinn, who is doing a fantastic job in reducing the time from the time the offer comes in till the time they're onboarding. She's consistently pushing that time frame up as quick as she can, so there's a less of a lag between hire. The third thing that we've been able to do, sorry, you have a question? Yeah. The third thing that we're getting ready to implement is we're taking our payroll from a 2-week delay down to a 1-week delay. So we'll be paid for 2 weeks. And so instead of a 2-week processing time, we're reducing that back down to 1, which means if a person starts, you know, the first week of the month, they're going to get paid on the 3rd week. They're not going to have to wait till the 4th week of the month. So again, that's one more thing that we're doing to reduce the amount of time from people to the time that we make an offer till the time they get paid. Because we know that it's like a very tumultuous time and for people, especially if you're working 2 weeks and you're waiting 2 weeks to get paid. There's not a lot of people that can afford to wait an entire month to get paid. So several different components there that I'm really excited about. Again, I over the course of my time, our scheduling in some areas has been more reactive than proactive. So if you look at under countermeasures 0.3, I'm working with the different departments to develop forecasting dashboard and matrices based on the staffing needs. So we're looking at several things. What do the managers say that they need? Does that align with what the staffing studies in history that we've shown? Is it more? Is it less? And we're able to talk about those more eloquently in terms of specifically position control. So that's a big positive we're working towards. And again, there has been no, I won't reiterate the contract rates and caps. So going on to the countermeasures, any questions so far? Kind of blowing through this, but yeah.
I just have one, Chad.
Yeah.
What's the industry baseline? If we're at 8.3, is that good? Is that bad? Is that?
That's a great question. I didn't look that up. I just didn't, and I didn't. I would say this is lower than we've been, but it's still. I would. My goal has been and continues to be 0. I mean, I would say that's optimal. But you know, I was sitting with Joe earlier today, and we were going through. I'm working on a total staffing or total rewards statement for staff, so we can go through and show them not only compensation but benefits and the different things that we have. In doing that, we were able to really start to see the true cost of an employee. And so by seeing that compared to travelers, it really surprised me because I know I've bought into this. Travelers are expensive, right? Travelers are expensive. Travelers cost us a lot of money. The reality is not so much. And in some cases, they're less expensive because of the sheer lucrative nature of our benefits program. So that was surprising to me. So I don't think we're going to see, and that's one of the reasons why we're focusing on a reduction of percentage of total staff rather than a dollar value savings. Because if you're replacing a traveler with a permanent employee, that dollar value you would expect to be, well, a traveler makes 150% of what a staff member makes. That's true, but they don't get benefits and they don't get time off and they don't get, and they don't get, and they don't get. And as we work through some of those numbers, I don't even have all the details. I was surprised to see how close and even above we were on some positions. And so an example would be for CNA specifically, it's cheaper to have a travel or CNA than it is to have an on-staff CNA.
Is that a fact? That is a surprise.
Because, and the reason why is when you talk about full-time, there's a flat rate payment on our benefits to CBJ. That flat rate payment is $28,000 per person. And so if a person's making $40,000 and they get a $28,000 benefits package, that's 45%, right? But if you take that and you put that on a $200,000 employee, that's only a 20%.
That, Madam Chair, that's totally different than everything that we've ever heard before, especially about the CNA position.
It was shocking.
It does make sense to me. Paying into the PERS and tourist system is the most expensive part. And so benefit packages are great and they're expensive. And that's why companies, not only in the healthcare industry, but companies in general, find that it's better to have a contractor than an employee, right? That way, because these benefit packages are so expensive. I'm going to keep after you, and I love the fact that you're trying to get that number down because there's an efficiency within the system. Whenever you have these new travelers, every time I walk into the OR, I tell them, now this is how we do PE tubes, so it's common operation in the world, and you're retelling it every time. You get kind of tired of that after 30 years.
Absolutely.
So there's an efficiency with keeping people employed.
There's efficiency, there's quality of care, I mean, it's not just dollar for dollar, and we understand that, which is why we're going to continue to drive towards this goal of reduction. Because overall, we'd also rather have the people in our community growing and developing and investing back in our own community rather than coming here for X number of weeks and then moving back to wherever they're from. But yeah, and in doing that deeper dive, I was really surprised to know how close and even above it was.
So we don't need to have it now, but I want to understand this flat rate payment we're making for benefits, which is, that's a change from the way that.
It's like if someone comes in and signs up for health benefits, it's a flat rate you pay on a monthly basis.
But is it a flat rate plus a load on top of that? So, I mean, to John's point, the PERS cost of 22%. That's 22% of the employee's wage. That doesn't have anything to do with the flat rate.
No, that's separate. What he's talking about is the insurance piece.
So 28,000 is just.
PERS is on top.
So 28,000 a year? A year.
15.5 per month.
So does it vary to, so you're not paying based on what their enrollment is in the health plan?
That's the additional cost on top of that, from what I understand. I'll double check, but I was surprised. But then you also, another simple thing is 22% into PERS. So that's a 22% cost right off the bat for every person, even if they're tier 4. So
Angela, I don't know if your ears are burning, but can you give us a report at the next finance committee on this? Maybe we can summarize that, but I think I'd really like to understand exactly how we're paying the total load and what that total load is per employee, on the variable piece, the fixed piece, and how that works so that we understand that.
To be fair, this is got an average employee, so like, there's some people might elect not to get into our health insurance, right? But we just assume most people do. So there's certain assumptions built into what he did, obviously.
Yeah.
We can walk through that. He has it laid out in the spreadsheet, so it goes line by line,
Yeah.
what we expect an employee to do and what that costs.
Yeah, if we could add that, Angela, though, for the January finance. Thank you.
So this, again, I hate to keep harping on this, but this is something totally different that we've ever heard before. I've never heard of this flat payment for each employee like this. Is this something new?
It shouldn't be. If we provide healthcare benefits, it's been going on forever. We just haven't discussed it.
So
Deb,
Deb, just like Max was saying, and I'll let Max talk, but just like Max was saying, we pay X amount of dollars per hour that the employee works, so 30%. I've never heard of just a flat yearly payment of $28,000 into the PERS system. I've just never heard of that.
sorry, it's not PERS, Kenny, I apologize. We're talking about that's the total combined payment for dental, vision, and health.
it's the health insurance piece, yeah.
And
That's what I meant. I'm sorry. The health insurance. I just always thought that the 30% of their wages goes into that. So that is very surprising to me, that number.
Well, the last number I heard on the average, the load was 56% per salary dollar for CBJ. And so I don't know, that was the all-in average, that included all taxes, health insurance, PERS, everything was 56%. So it doesn't surprise me that it's an expensive number. I just want to make sure we understand how it works. And Chad, back to kind of the original point though, I could almost wrap my head around it for a CNA. It's a lot harder to understand it when you're talking about a skilled, more highly skilled person, where you've got the delta. So that's not necessarily true across all positions.
No, it's not true across all positions. A CNA is an example of where it's less expensive. If you get into like a regular, like an RN, an RN is almost dead even. And then as you get, and that would be like, let's say, and I'm just ballparking, but that'd be like a CN 3 or 4, step 3 or 4, somewhere in that range. About 55 to 57 an hour, in that range, 50 to 57 an hour would be the range where it kind of falls out to where that 56% that you're hearing, and to say that holds true with us, that 56%, if we're paying a travel company 150% of basically the same rate we would pay here, then it's, again, you have a 6% difference. So yeah, I'm only talking about, and the only reason why the CNA has such a difference, or any lower paid position, doesn't have to be CNA, is because of that flat cost on the healthcare. So, but I will look into it and I'll provide you with Angela, I can put it together and I'll get you guys. So, but yeah, it's surprising me because over the course of my career, I've always used 30 to 35% as that estimate for benefits. So you've probably even heard me say that before. If I'm estimating benefits, that's usually that mark that I come in at, because that's usually about what the cost is. But as we started going line by line and calculating out to try to explain to an employee what their total rewards was, it came out higher than I thought. And I remember when Chuck was here, we were chatting one day and he said 48%. And I said, that seems way high. And so, yeah. But again, the point being is that focusing on the reduction of the percentage of overall staff, I do think is going to lead to less having to explain things over, more continuity, more consistency, better care. Although we have some travelers that have been around for a long time, they give great care. I'm not knocking them in any way, shape, or form. But I do think it's just better served for our community to have as many people employed by the hospital as possible. So again, that's actually bullet point 2 in the KPIs to have done by the end of the year is to actually pin down to identify that actual cost delta between the travelers. So working on that. Again, hoping to get down the staffing vendors to a cap of 4. Again, currently it's 7. Internal staff satisfaction rates. As we roll through UKG Pro, it has the opportunity for us to do pulse surveys. And so there's a component of that we can, actually roll out to our staff and to travel staff to find out, what's going well, what's not going well. We got some feedback from one department recently that said, the on-call was an issue for them, particularly with not wanting to potentially sign up, as a permanent employee. So getting more information from those travelers through exit interviews with travelers to really understand, if you were to consider Bartlett as a permanent employer, what would that look like, or what is the reason why you're moving on to your next assignment, and see if we can identify ways to get people that come in through the travel process to stay longer. And then, of course, the total labor cost savings. Once we've identified the delta, then we can identify what the actual savings, the true savings are. So that, I believe the goal is not the goal, under the follow-up actions, is to have a monthly report through the senior leadership team and to come back to you guys on a quarterly basis through the HR, just the regular HR update, give you guys an update on how this A3 is progressing. That I'll any more questions.
Yeah, I want to go back to the 7 vendors and getting it down to 1. So
Close to get it down to 4.
Oh, to 4. That's
Yeah.
where you're going. Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm not completely clear. I mean, in general, I kind of get the concept of it's simpler to use fewer of the staffing, but is there not some value into having competition among the vendors too, or is that not a thing?
Yeah, there could be. What the goal really is to have a primary vendor and secondary vendors, and to give the primary vendor like a couple week head start. So ideally, we give the primary vendor 2 weeks. If they're not finding anyone, then the rest of the remaining staffing companies have access to that. The reason why we're not trying to limit it to 1 is because there are companies that are very, very specialized. We have one company that does primarily all of our PES clinicians. And the primary vendor, that's just not what they specialize in. So I'm not going to put the hospital in a place to where we could be really in a bad situation by not being able to get the staff that we need through the primary vendor. So I think a primary vendor and at least 2 secondary vendors would still provide that level of competition, because if the primary vendor doesn't have someone within 2 weeks, they know that they've got someone hot on their heels ready to go.
Any other questions for Chad? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ready for this? Are you ready for this to be the last one?
Oh, no.
Oh, God, you think it's
Appreciate your time. You're not great. So I guess the big things to kind of report, we had our election for new positions. So
As you guys are aware, Dr. Totten, she'll be taking over chief of staff position. I think she's going to do a great job in that role. For vice chief, Dr. Brown, actually, he's one of the just Peter Bonner Blake. He actually volunteered for that position and was voted in by the staff. It does require the board to make an exemption for him. He's currently been active medical staff for 10 months. Our bylaws stipulate that he has to be active medical staff for 12 months. Or the board can make an exception. I suppose the board didn't feel comfortable making an exception. We could have him not take that role on for another couple of months, but I think it would be beneficial for him to be in that role as long as possible to kind of sort of get up to speed. But obviously that's up to the board to decide. And then Alex Malter loves the committee so much that he volunteered for the treasurer position, which has been empty up until now. So Alex will remain on the med exec committee. We're currently being short-staffed to first staff. People. So so I don't know how you want to deal with Dr. Brown, if you guys want to talk about it or but anyway. And then other things, Dr. Hernandez put her name in for this board, and so spoke with the med staff, and they supported her nomination to the hospital board. So I think that application is in. And then those are kind of the main things. We had some discussion around CRNAs, and we're still kind of sort of an ongoing conversation. Talk more about that later on.
Yeah,
Well, you said Dr. Brown, and I thought of the pediatrician who's now deceased, and Ken Brown.
Oh.
And then I thought, oh, you must mean the orthopedist. I just want to be sure that's who we're talking.
Yeah.
so the will of the board, do we want to discuss the possibility of making an exemption or ask that Dr. Brown wait until March? Would it be March or?
Yeah, I think that this March is when this committee back.
Dr.
I
Russ?
would suggest, Dave was one of those longtime locums. He knows the area well. He's been in practice in different institutions. And so he'll bring a new energy, and I think, but he's not from here, but he's now living here. And so it would be better, I think, to have him on sooner. Whereas we had Jody Totten, we didn't have anybody in the wings for 6 months. So if he's willing to be doing this, and we have a shrinking pool, I would support doing whatever change it takes to put him on right now.
Are you proposing a motion
Sure.
to?
I make a motion such as.
Second that.
You got a couple of seconds over there, Paula. Lisa.
Pick one.
Is there any objection? Hal, do you have a question?
Well, I've already spoken, but I just want to say that, yeah, I'm in favor. If somebody wants to step up and take responsibility, I just want to see us accommodate that person. So I'm in favor of this.
And I mean, I think to Dr. Ross, I mean, he's worked in the community for many years as a locums provider, coming sort of the routine basis. I don't remember exactly, Joe, I know that. There's three community. So, I mean, I think he's familiar with
Deb, Madam President, I kind of agree with Dr. Matthew too, because like you said, Dr. Brown's been around for a long time and all the physicians know him. And I think it's great that he's going to step into this role, especially coming off of a locum and being a full-time physician now on staff. I think it's really good, and we're lucky to get him to sign up right away.
Do we have any objections to this motion? Seeing and hearing none, the motion is passed, and we will make an exception for Dr. Brown's start. Any meeting updates? Al?
Hey.
No.
Lisa.
Lisa.
We talked about it. He's gonna step up. He wasn't gonna be here tonight.
Yes. Sadly, I'm here, so I'll do it.
He's in mourning, he's grieving, so we all need to be supportive.
So the two things that we accomplished in the last month were the CEO evaluation, talked about executive session, and then we did the board self-evaluation quite differently than the last time this was done. So we had, I think everybody knows, it was a simple survey of people. We took some information in from the CEO evaluation too. I don't know how much you want me to go into this. It's right here. You can read it. It's just a few pages. But the thing I do want to point out is there are 5 recommendations. One of which was that well, there they are. One of which is that we host a monthly or every other month luncheon for Juneau's principal press. And just to emphasize that we're talking about the board do this, this isn't just something we would lay on staff. And this would be to get at this issue of communication with the public, which came up in our self-evaluation, but also came up in the CEO evaluation. There's a recommendation that we have a strategic initiative to strengthen our hospital brand. Sure, we'll talk about that more during our strategic planning session. There was a recommendation that we do something to strengthen our personal bonds on the board and even with some of the staff. So we recommend that we have an annual meeting with no agenda related to the hospital operations, and that we just focus on socializing and building these personal relationships. Doing that consistent with the Open Meetings Act. We recommend that we start the practice of having each committee do a self-evaluation on an annual basis. And then we recommend strengthening the education about healthcare finance and to have a mini workshop specifically addressed or focused on the new board members, one that would be open to all the board members. And so then this came out as an action item. So if you approve, accept the action is really to just accept the report. So we're asking people to have this be our board self-evaluation approval.
Has everyone who wasn't at the committee had an opportunity to review the self-evaluation? Is there anyone who objects to accepting the board self evaluation? Thank you. The self-evaluation is accepted. At a later date, we'll discuss each of the recommendations. Unless you want to discuss them now. Hearing no. No desire to start that conversation. Pardon? Ruminate for a little while. Jenny. The planning committee? We did have a very short meeting.
I'm sorry, are you,
Yeah, you're up with the planning committee?
oh, okay. Yeah, we had a very short meeting. We just pretty much went over the, what's going on with, all the projects that are happening. A lot of stuff is being completed. I'm very excited that we're moving forward with the ED project. We're hitting our goals. It's actually coming under budget, so that's great. This year, Deb kind of tasked me to make sure that I kept pushing on that we had a new master plan, and that's moving right along. And I know January we're having a more of a strategic plan and hoping to move that along too. With that, I actually text a little bit with Tom Cruzy today, so I know he'll be up here for that. So like I said, it was probably a short meeting. I think it took 12 minutes, and Kim, she might have something else to add. Do you, Kim?
To the chair, I do not.
Okay, that's great. Does anybody have any questions?
Seeing none. Shelley. Quality.
Okay,
And
the minutes reflect the meeting, and I have a couple highlights. One was Mr. Pollitt gave a report and stated that he was seeing some positive correlation between the 5-star CMS rating and patient comments. We will be seeing 2 A3s for 2026, one focusing on med errors and the second one focusing on hygiene, which has been a challenge meeting the benchmark. So that'll be a good thing to see. And Gail and her team are continuing to work on improving leapfrog ratings. Wildflower Court has gone from a 1-star CMS rating to a 4, so that was great news to hear. And there will also be a focus for 2026 to make sure we're documenting the quality and safety info that the board is receiving. Any questions? Thank you.
great. And Max, the finance and audit committee.
Yeah, Finance and Audit Committee, just maybe a couple of things to focus on. One is the audit is nearing completion, and auditors found some things that need to have corrected. Some of those related to earlier than FY 25. So we will be meeting with them at our next meeting, and in the meantime, getting some more information about that. So that's good. And remember, these are new auditors for the hospital. And then we got a housing update that we'll hear a little bit more about in just a minute here. So if there's any questions, that's all I had.
Seeing no questions. Still honored. You're not.
I have a report. We start with the housing report.
There you go.
So the foundation, we have been working with Wayne Jensen for Jensen Yorba Wall. They've helped draft some plans, tentative plans to how we could remodel and expand or part of the house. And our SLT team, Angela, Chad, and Aaron went through the plans, and they kind of knocked out what would be best for us and with Lately. So we've sent those back to Wayne for further consideration. And basically, he'll take that to come up with a tentative price and what it would take to move that forward. In the near term, we're waiting on getting a survey done on the property, which I think we just got the quote yesterday or the day before, so I'm looking at that. And so the next step will be the survey, and then we'll get a price, and we can bring that back for consideration. There is some potential where it could be funded partially or in whole through the Rural Health Transformation Program, so there's some hope there. I wouldn't hold my breath, obviously, but and so we'll look at that. We'll look at some funding options as we move into this as well. So that's what my report is about.
Maybe just that the goal is to get it into the FY 26 budget.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have it in the 26 budget. We did have I think we put a placeholder in the CIP for 26 already. So so we had to submit that by yesterday. So we plugged a tentative budget just based on Angela's estimate. So we have the number in there. So it might need additional appropriation, or might need less depending on the funding source. So we'll have to look at that. So we will get to it. Moving on, we were getting close again on signing all the contracts with Lacey Pediatrics. A couple of them are waiting on Dr. Dressel for review, so we're getting real close on closing that all the way down, but everything looks good at this point. I guess we did get a meet with the Department of Health earlier this month. They came and met with the SLT team on the Rural Health Transformation Program. And so through our conversation, it's clear that payment reform will be something that the state will be moving forward with either semi-aggressively from my standpoint. So they're looking at some Medicare as well as Medicaid programs. Now that they're trying to get a lot of people onto it. There's also technology is going to be a big piece of this. And so they will be hosting a 2-day vendor fair as well as some additional learning sessions that we might, when we get the agenda and figure out what they're going to be talking about attending at that point. And so that is the 12th to the 14th of January. And so we're looking at notice of funding and just trying to figure out how we're gonna go after some of these things. So it is kind of a big program, so we're just trying to make sure we have our arms around it, knowing that the state put in some benchmarks that they have to meet, and so we're gonna have to help them get those, so we make sure we get the additional years funding, but there will be a way to submit for subsequent years funding. It's not an initial application, so there'll be multiple years of the Glasgow. Is there any questions on that?
Okay. And so this is part of the big beautiful bill and the money that's being shunted, we're trying to get the state to help them get the money so that we can utilize it for certain programs.
Yeah,
And then the Medicare and Medicaid model, were you hinting that we're going to an ACO?
well, what they're looking at is what's called the head model, which is like an ACO in many ways. There's different pieces of it.
Accountable care organization.
They're supposed to have a full learning session for us to understand that there's different ways to roll it out too. There could be a clinic only component to the hospital. There could be a hospital component. But we need to understand what the implications are for us. Initial, when they talk through it, it'd be almost like a fixed budget for the hospital, which doesn't really allow for expansion of services if you have a fixed budget. But we're trying to understand it. So many of you guys were at the strategic planning session last April when we met with Brock Slaybaugh from the National Rural Health Association. So today we had a kickoff for our technical assistants. And so what they offer is they come and do a strategic operational financial assessment for the hospital. So basically they look at, what they said, it's a mile wide and inch deep. So basically they look at everything we do as a hospital and they make recommendations based on industry best practice. So some of the stuff that'll be interesting is they'll look at our clinics, how we have them enroll, payment methodology, they'll look at revenue cycle practices, staffing issues, expenses, everything. They'll come back with some hopefully recommendations on how we move stuff forward. In addition to that, one of the things that we'll have to look at with them, when they start this in early March, we'll know at this point whether we have that community hospital demonstration extended. If it is at that point, we'll probably have to relook at the critical access option. But they can go through that, we'll go with us step by step. And take into consideration new data as we have additional, we had a busy summer, so what's the implications of some of those patient base? And so we did the kickoff, data request will be coming sometime in the next couple of weeks with the on-site in early March. This is all funded through the federal government, so this is free to borrow at this point, so that's why we're taking advantage of this program.
Got a question on the road cycle that reminded me that I want to talk to you about that some more at some point, but we did a pretty exhaustive revenue cycle review right before you came back to the hospital when Sam was sitting in your role. And that revealed, I don't know if it revealed, but it had recommendations and had some good observations, I thought. And just, it was a little chaotic at the time. There was a lot of stuff that was happening in the hospital. You were coming in, you were new. And I guess I've got a question about whether we need to dust that off and look at it again. And in light of, it's almost like we had a lot of water under the bridge or, made some progress in terms of evaluating that revenue cycle. And I just don't want to see it all kind of just all get done over again, when we've already had some pretty good work done in that area.
So we're going to pull that forward and look and see if anything's relevant. So I would say in the last 2 years since it was done prior to me getting here, there's been a lot of programmatic changes that we have to consider.
Understood, yeah. I know it's a whole different animal, but, maybe it bears, really taking another deep dive, but it would be nice to look at that and see, because there was 3 or 4 recommendations in there I thought were great,
And we'll pull that forward. During the month, we did have Dr. Ba came and did a presentation to med staff, which was great. And he actually came and did a presentation to senior leadership, which I really appreciated. He brought a lot of good ideas forward. I guess part of this is just to say thanks to the Foundation for Inner Life for funding that education. I think it was well received by med staff and just the community in general. So appreciation to them. did have my letter updated in the report this month, and basically it was just semi-reflective of the last year, what we've done and what we have ahead of us, just so everyone's aware. We've had a lot of good successes. But with the rural health transformation and some of the other things ahead of us, there's just a lot more churning we have to do. So change has been a constant. We're trying to monitor that too, because at a certain point, constant change burns staff out. So we have to make sure as we are jumping into some of these things, it's a net positive and just not burning some stuff. And the second piece of my report is an educational opportunity for board members. We've talked about this in the past. Through the National Rural Health Association, there is the Rural Hospital Board of Trustees Certification Program. There is the handouts included in the packet. This is funded through the federal government, so you guys have the opportunity to go through this program. It is 8 months. It is quite the commitment. There is a lot of good education in here for board members if they want to take it on.
Does it work?
So what I can do is I can send each of you, I'll have Deb send it out probably, or Anita, is there's a link that you guys follow through. They sent me a link that since we're working through the USDA on the technical assistance, we already have this tied together. So there's a link that you guys can go for enrollment. And so we can send that out. It's just an option. All of you can attend, one of you can attend. It's just out for everybody.
Do you actually go somewhere or is it like an online thing?
It's all virtual.
It's all virtual.
But I'm looking here and see, there's a cost of $2,000. Is that for everybody or is that?
This is just the standard handout they get out. This doesn't apply to us. It is free for you guys.
Has anybody done it?
No,
This is new to us.
All new to
it's new
us.
to us.
Okay. Is anybody on senior leadership? Is it only for board members?
They have separate certification programs, but those are not paid for through the USDA. This is the only one that's funded outside. So there is like a CNO track, a quality track, HR track. There's different tracks. It would be nice to have some board members go through this. They can kind of assess the program too.
So you're saying this is paid for by the U.S. Department of Agriculture?
Yes. I don't know why we didn't, but that's
Rural.
yeah.
Is it RHBOT? It's like that little PM is in the way.
Well, there's a separate link I can send
Oh,
out to
there it
you.
is.
I will send you a link.
Yeah,
out
we
to you.
need some,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
here in the handout though too. Oh, yeah.
Well, I think that's the standard enrollment process. There's a separate link he sent to me directly in an email, but you guys will follow.
So we're in this rural health program?
Yes, that's the technical assistance I talked about before. And so we actually looked at this last April, but we were waiting on federal funding. So the feds funded it for one more year. So we know this year is funded. And so this might be your opportunity for education.
One more question. Do we know what the approximate time commitment is for something?
It's 8 month period. There's bi-weekly meetings. And so it's like 2 to 3 hours a week.
Every other day.
Every other week, yes, bi-weekly.
Is it, one last question. Is it a set time or is it something that you log into and do independently?
I'd have to re-ask that question. For some reason, I think it's a set time every other week.
Just wondering with time zone changes and things like that, how that works.
Yeah, they take that into consideration when they're timing it. And so it's usually an afternoon session on the East Coast with a morning session on the Alaska time.
And what is the deadline? When is it, what is the start date again? And the deadline for enrollment?
So the deadline is to go up until they start the class. My understanding is the next cohort starts late January. And so it's coming up. And so the ask is if current board members want to do it before the end of December, and then we'll also send this out to.
You should have 2 new board members.
I guess if you're up for reappointment, you have to wait till Thursday to.
Yeah, well, to answer your question, how it says it'll take no more than 60 minutes each week. The bi-weekly scheduled meetings held throughout the program are 90 minutes long. So an hour a week plus a 90-minute every other week. And it's 8 months before there's cohort meetings that'll all be held on. They're held Tuesdays at 5 Eastern time on a bi-weekly basis. So, it's scheduled, it looks like.
Thank you. Nice.
So hopefully we'll have some folks that will take advantage. I know it's a time commitment. But this is our first opportunity to have a board certification. Hopefully, our two new members will have the opportunity to take advantage as well. And it's free to us.
Yeah, that's fun. With that, I guess I open it up to questions.
No questions for Joe? Okay, Mrs. Candice is not in attendance. So, any liaison report? The president's report is the end of the year. And we are, have a couple of letters that I would like to read to those that we are going to say goodbye to very sadly. I'd like to, a couple of folks that are leaving sooner than we would like and on schedule. It's, I'll give this to you when you get back in town. It's with a measurable appreciation and respect that I write this letter to you on behalf of the Bartlett Regional Hospital Board of Directors and the community of Freedom. As I look back on your tenure with Bartlett Regional Hospital, the Bartlett Regional Hospital Board, I realized that writing this farewell letter would be a daunting undertaking to compile the impact of your time with us. First and foremost, we want to share our appreciation for your selfless commitment to Bartlett Regional Hospital during the last 7 years. You came to the board in 2019, getting a crash course in healthcare operations and finance. Since then, your dedication and leadership have helped the hospital navigate the next 5 years of upheaval, from the COVID outbreak to senior leadership turnover and a financial crisis. During that time, you granted the hospital in your community the gift of your time and energy beyond the ordinary commitment expected of a board member. Your leadership has been a guiding example for all of us. Your wisdom, insight, and calm but tireless efforts have moved us all. This is a bittersweet goodbye to someone who has dedicated 7 years to this board. Your tenure, marked by matchless commitment, humility, and dedication, has left an enduring mark on our institution and our community. As we express our deepest gratitude for your exceptional service and dedication, we wish the best in your move to sunny Las Vegas. The hospital and broader community of Juneau will sorely miss all you have given. In recognition of your service, a leaf will be made in your honor and placed in the Bartlett Regional Hospital Foundation's giving tree. Thank you from the depths of our hearts for being an exemplary leader and dedicated champion for the citizens of Juneau.
Thank you very much. Thank you. This has been an honor and a privilege to serve our community and to be part of this board. And I know that was during some extremely trying times, but I think we came at the other end in good shape. And it's thank you to this board. This board has just been relentless and working hard and always trying to better ourselves and critiquing ourselves. And Deb, thank you very much for your time and commitment, and everybody on this board is so important to our community. And I just don't have words to express the gratitude I have for everybody's help and everything. And I wish best of luck to Joe as he leads Bartlett into this new phase of healthcare. wherever we may be. I really believe that we're in good hands with his SLT and Kim and Gail, and they've just been amazing team for us to work with, and thank you all. I know I didn't mention everybody's name, but just everybody, thank you guys very much from the bottom of my heart. You know, it takes a village to do this, and we really did do this all together. And again, thank you. And I'm gonna miss doing this. I'm gonna miss this.
What are you gonna do to fill up your time?
Uh,
Pickleball?
Pickleball, grandkids. I'm still working, so pickleball, grandkids, and just really enjoying life, and we're also actually taking care of my mom full time down in Las Vegas. So if anybody comes through Vegas, come see me.
Okey-doke. Thank you. Shelley. It's with appreciation and respect that I write this letter on behalf of Bartlett Regional Hospital Board of Directors and the community of Juneau. You have brought invaluable experience to this board. Your insight, acumen, and tireless efforts have not only shaped policies, but have influenced lives. Your empathy and understanding have touched many hearts and fostered a culture of compassion and excellence within our board. Your commitment to the betterment of this hospital and our community has set a high standard that will be hard to follow. We express our gratitude for your exceptional service and dedication and extend warmest wishes for your future adventures. In recognition of your service, a leaf will be made in your honor and placed on Bartlett Regional Hospital Foundation's giving tree. Thank you for being an exemplary champion for the citizens of Juneau.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to work with this board. When I started 3 years ago, I really wondered what I was walking into and where we would be. And between the board, the senior leadership, and all the staff of Bartlett, the work and the commitment to make it what it is now has just been amazing to watch and be a part of. So thank you, everybody, for getting to be here.
That's what I have to read on my difficulty. Printing.
Last but not least.
Yes. Not asking. Dr. Luke Mather, on behalf of Bartlett Regional Hospital Board of Directors, I wish to express our gratitude for your exceptional contributions and unwavering commitment as the 2025 Chief of Staff. Your dedication and tireless effort have assisted hospital operations and enhanced patient care. Your thorough understanding of Juneau's healthcare landscape and medical community has significantly contributed to the improvement of our procedures and relationships with the provider community, ensuring the highest standards of quality and safety for our patients. We also appreciate your thoughtful efforts as Chief of Staff to help us navigate the relationships between medical staff and the provider community. It is with gratitude that I extend our appreciation for your outstanding contributions as the Chief of Staff. Your dedication and expertise have been a driving force behind our continued success. We are honored to have had the privilege of working alongside such an exceptional leader. In recognition of your service, a leaf will be made in your honor and placed on the Bartlett Regional Hospital Foundation's giving tree. Thank you.
Well, I would say I really appreciated the opportunity to do this, and most importantly, I felt like it's a meaningful time spent here. You know, I think the board really, all of the board members, and really all of the administration, I think, genuinely care about making sure that this hospital supports the medical staff, and so I think that has been really a rewarding part of this. It feels like it's a meaningful liaison role between the medical staff and hospital board. So thank you all for.
And thank you for your time. Thank you for year where few were willing to step up and that. Okay.
Thank you.
Next, we have the election of officers and proposing that we postpone that to January. We have a lot of we have existing board members who are up for reappointment. And we have two additional open seats. So it seemed a little more appropriate to wait till the next. So this is the proposal.
Madam President, can I make a recommendation? I know that we have some board members that are up that are going to come back, but I would like to recommend that we go ahead and elect our president for next year, because I believe that there's a lot of stuff that's going to go on between now and January that we're really going to need our president to be able to make some decisions. So is it possible that we elect the president and then elect the other two officers in January?
It's
But by not electing a president, it makes Deb the president.
Well, I know, but I don't
I
want
think
it
it's
to be
pointless
a
to lame
lame
duck
duck president.
presidency
Yeah.
until she.
Yeah.
I'll
So,
nominate Deb. Let's just do it.
no,
this
no,
way.
I get to nominate Deb. I'm nominating Deb.
I'll second. I'll second.
So first of all, I just want to say, on my nomination for Deb, if we all agree on this, is Deb is someone that really worked super hard for so many years to really learn the position and be there. The last year or two that I was president, Deb actually came to so many meetings and got involved with the city and learned so many things. She's so dedicated now. She's always thinking about Bartlett. And I think that we, Bartlett Regional Hospital, would be lucky to have Deb stay on as president moving forward. So with that, I want to nominate Deb, and I ask for unanimous consent.
Yes. Yes.
I can't really share this little piece of it, so.
Yeah, Dr. Raster has to do it.
That's the chair right now.
So, Anita, what do I have to do?
Are there any?
Objections? Any objections? Hearing none. Deb is elected. And part of her dedication, I think, is what scares everybody else into being the president. Because she just puts in so much time. So congratulations, Deb. You are unanimously elected president.
Thank you. Okay. Board calendar. Thank you all, by the way, for your vote of confidence. Okay. So the planning committee is normally scheduled on the first Friday of the month. I'm assuming that there's not a single person here who wants to come to the planning committee the day after New Year's. So I am proposing, because we have a strategic planning meeting later in the month. When it's to be held. So committee of
Therefore,
where we were before.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
It will be a committee of the whole meeting. There will be no planning committee unless someone objects to this. Okay. Max, is that date good for you?
Yeah, Brent, does that work for you, the 9th? We'll have a new member of the finance committee, obviously, that we'll have to figure out between now and then, but,
Yeah, the 9th works okay for me.
okay, great.
All right. And then let's see that. The And the board meeting is fine for everyone. And then the committee of the whole is on the 23rd, which is our strategic planning. We'll go over the facilities master plan
There'll be an education component with.
and
town
the education
policies.
sport.
That's the question.
Yeah.
We historically always had the board meeting at 5:30, and understanding the reason behind it is probably to accommodate some doctors coming after clinic, but would it be possible to entertain the option of moving it up to 5, just so we get out of here a little bit earlier? Is that a possibility with board members?
That's fun with me.
That's okay with me.
Either way.
Lisa?
Dr. Rester, Lisa, can we do a holiday meeting? When do you want to do it? And I'm sorry I wasn't here. It's okay. Is Thursdays work for you, Dr. Rester?
I'm out of town the 3rd, 5th, 14th, 15th through there. So are you thinking Thursday 8 or Thursday 22?
Thursday 22, is that a surgery day?
That's a better day, but later would be good for that. So like,
4:30, 4?
yeah, 4 o'clock would be great.
You, Lisa, 4 o'clock? Yeah, I'll be in town. And is it 4? 4? I will need a interim chair or something by then, Deb, or I believe I'm not. Okay. Unless somebody.
Lisa and I talked about her willingness to.
Perfect. Okay. I will work with you on the agenda if I don't. There'll be annual plans that need to go to board of directors for their consent agenda. Good job, Mara. I didn't be excited to think about moving a board meeting about that.
Harder unanimous consent.
Dr. Tingy, is 5 o'clock work for you?
Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Board comments and questions? Max?
Well, I just wanted to say, I'm glad, that was a nice letter you read about Kenny, and I just wanted to add my thanks to that, Kenny. You were, I think we all know how hard you worked, and you were all in when you were board chair, and it showed in the, the direction of the hospital finally landed. And I just want to say that I owe you, and we all owe you, a debt of gratitude for your hard work. Thank you.
Thank you, Max.
Al and then Lisa.
Well, so I don't want to just repeat what everybody else said, but it seems like there's an omission that nobody's really pointed out what a kind person Kenny was during his time as president. And I really recognize it. And I know I've talked to Kenny about this before, but I knew when I disagreed with him about something, that is when he was extra careful to make sure I got my point across. And I saw him do that with other board members too. And yeah, I just want to be sure that that's mentioned somewhere along the line too. Thank you.
Lisa?
Thank you, Al.
You and I have talked about this. You're one of the first people I met when I moved to Juneau. And when I came to Juneau, I didn't know anybody and I didn't have any friends. And don't feel sorry for me, but I came here with a whole passel of kids. And so one day I was at the movie theater and one of my kids had a meltdown and Kenny came out and he helped and he just sat there with me and we talked and we became friends over the years and he recruited me to this board. And I resisted him for a little bit and oh no. But Kenny, I just want to thank you for your friendship. I'm going to miss you. And I really am going to miss you, not just as a board member, but as a friend. And in a couple of years, I'll be coming to Vegas for a conference, as I already know about it, and I plan on banging on your door, and you better be home.
That's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll also be in Vegas tomorrow, by the way, tomorrow night. I'll be there for the week.
In Vegas?
Or not Vegas, I'm sorry, Juneau.
I was gonna say, you said you were gonna be here for Avatar.
Yeah, Juneau. Yeah, I'll be here for Avatar.
Yeah.
Um, again, Deb, I cannot express how much I appreciate the board and the senior leadership team. You know, we really went through some trying times and everybody really rallied together. Everybody, and you know, like even Hal says that even if we didn't agree, we all were very cordial to each other for the most part. And I just can't tell you how lucky I am to have this board when I was the president for those years. And thank you guys very much. And it's bittersweet. I'm super excited, but I love Bartlett and I love the direction that we're going. And I think one of the best things that we've done is we have a really consistency now in the C-suite, and I'm very happy about that and look forward to watching how everything moves forward in Juneau. You know, I love this community and I'll always have a footprint here.
Kenny, I didn't mention it earlier, but I wanted to make sure that since you're gonna be in town, please stop by Joe's office. We have an additional gift for you.
Oh, okay.
Stop by, okay,
Sounds good.
right. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Pardon?
Did you say show the meeting?
I did,
Okay, good. Sorry, I had to take a little break. Okay, thank you.
I did, I read a letter.
Thank you. Just my last.
Sally,
It's too-
I do want to say, one last comment. I was very hopeful that in my succession planning, that, you would continue and you're going to be sorely missed as well.
Yeah.
You leave a hole in our experience and, expertise for the hospital.
Thank you. Maybe I'll be back.
Okay. Well, you know, we'll be here. Some of us will be here.
I know you will, Shelley.
You're getting the side eye from Gail.
She's still helping us.
If there's no other questions or comments, let's take a break. We take a break and we'll reconvene and move into executive session.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
should we have a motion to move into executive session before the break, so we just come back in?
We can certainly do that.
Whichever you.
Okay, Al, since you,
Well, I'll move that the Board of Directors of Bartlett Regional Hospital recess an executive session to discuss several matters, including those by which by law, municipal charter, or ordinance are required to be confidential or involve consideration of records that are not subject to public disclosure, specifically the credentialing report, the medical staff meeting minutes, patient safety dashboard, legal updates, and CEO evaluation.
Second.
adjourn, or we are adjourned into executive session. Let's take,
Do we accept the credentialing report?
Second that.
Second.
thank you. Anything else that we need to discuss tonight before we adjourn this meeting? Seeing nothing, we're adjourned. Thank you all.
All right. I'll see you guys this week.
Hey.
Good job, Joe.